Because we're always somewhat laughing whenever we get on here.
Because we
So-
like each other.
So many shenanigans while you guys are waiting for us.
Are we live now?
We are
Yes,
live
we're
right
live
now.
now.
We're live now.
Please zip up your pants.
Right now.
I was just thinking that too. I was like, should I zip up or am I good?
So we're doing our stuff on Wednesday, which is probably throwing a lot of people off because, it's Wednesday. It's like midweek. Nobody likes Wednesday. It's not close enough to Friday. There's nothing to do. Like, you're not really, doing a whole bunch of stuff on Monday. It's like a meh day,
It's
right?
a mad day, but it's one step closer to the weekend.
It is. Thank you so much for everybody joining us today. We have,
You guys got a lot of Wednesday talk.
well,
Mm-hmm.
we have a ton of games to talk about.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's get to the games and get off the Wednesday.
Okay. Let's get started. So,
Tsuro.
Let's get
that's
ready
right.
to
First up,
rumble.
we have Tsuro, Phoenix Rising by Calliope Games. This is for 8+, 2 to 8 players, and will last about 20 to 60 minutes. What did you guys think of this game?
Have you guys played it before? The original?
We've
I
played.
played both. the
Yeah, we
original
played
and the
Tsuro
Seas.
and the
Okay.
7 Seas.
So I was spoiled because
Yeah.
I got Tsuro of the Seas first, and then I tried to go back and play the regular Tsuro, which the regular Tsuro just doesn't have anything
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah.
Besides just don't fall off
regular
the board.
Tsuro
It's-
gets
But
super boring
Tsuro
after
with the
you
Seas
play
is
that.
like legit because like you spawn up like
Right.
dragon monsters that chase you and like eat tiles, and you're like trying to push
Somebody
your
gets,
friends
like,
to get eaten.
the dragon spawned right on top of him. You're like, sucker.
and it is really fun to like push your friends towards like the dragon's mouth. You're like, oh no, I'm moving the dragon
Oh,
down one. Where are you gonna
no.
go on your turn?
You're
to the
getting
dragon's
close
mouth.
to the dragon.
So I do like Tsuro Rising Sea. I mean, it's one of the earlier games we got, but we've definitely played it a decent amount.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this looks like just kind of almost something along that vein where like they took the original idea of Tsuro and they're like, well, what else can we add to it? And they kind of added like a kind of a set collection, plan your movement aspect to it.
Now, to me, this kind of almost looked like a Tsuro light, though, because instead of having to have those tiles and then go, okay, where am I going to move based off my tiles? It's more like, all right, I'm just going to flip some stuff, and then we're going to just, run around the board here. So, and then you also get that resurrection, which is like a freebie, like,
Right.
I messed up. I get back on the board and back in the game,
But
though.
wouldn't it be harder having to use a set amount of tiles and not having options versus having like tiles in your hand and going, this is the route I want to take, versus going like, I have to
Yeah,
make
I
something
think
out of what's
for
here?
a strategic gamer, somebody who plans really ahead,
She's gonna insult me right now.
it's going to be a lot easier than you think, just because
Then I think
you're already
specific-
thinking like 3
specifically.
steps ahead, and you see somebody put down a
No, I
tile,
still
you're
think
like,
it's-
oh, okay, if
I agree that it's light, but it's not lighter than the base game. I mean, you said Tsuro light. I mean, you
yeah,
you
know,
gotta,
it
you
wouldn't
gotta
be,
figure out how to flip and turn and
well, maybe it's
maximize
better,
your moves so you can pass by the most gems possible.
maybe it's better for newer gamers, you know?
See, I think it's going to be all about maximizing that route and getting
Right.
multiple
Right.
Getting
lanterns.
as much as you
in the
can
sky.
done on
Right.
every turn.
Right. I mean,
Now-
that's how you're going to find out who's good is when you go around, you're like, I got 4, turn 1.
Right. Right.
Don't get me wrong, though. I don't think this is a bad game. Like, I think it's interesting that they added these new mechanics to it and everything.
Well,
I'm
that's
just saying,
your opinion. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm just saying that this one versus the other ones, I like, that it's 2 to 8 players. I like Tsuro, the game in general. I like that it has extra mechanics than regular Tsuro, because I probably wouldn't play the original anymore.
Yeah, the original's tough to go back to after having dragon
But if
dragon
I had the
monsters
choice
chasing
of
you.
playing between this one and then the 7 Seas, I might choose 7 Seas for more strategic gamers, and then like the Phoenix one maybe for people just getting into it, because I feel like you have a little bit more leniency.
You know what we need
maybe?
to do is we need to like have a playoff, like where we like do a game night and we have we switch people and then we have them play each one, one and then play the other one and then be like, all right, which one's lighter, and
What
see
we
what
could
people
do
think.
is we could do it the way Hooked on Geek does. With we could set all 3 of them up,
Ugh.
and then we could just all rotate
Tandem
around
game.
the
I would be
table.
so
yeah, and
bored
do
with
like
the
this
first one,
ridiculous
though.
tandem game.
I'm not
of
trying
it.
to be a jerk, but like with the first one, I'd be super bored. I'd be like, all right, I lost the first one. Who cares?
This game has amazing pieces in it, though.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
my first impression.
It looks beautiful.
Can we talk about the best thing about it is this
The
tile
board?
board?
Yeah, the
which I
tile
think
board
is
is
awesome.
extra.
tile board?
It
Yeah.
is, but like that's reason enough to buy this game. There's another game that recently did this, and we were trying to talk about it, and I couldn't remember what it is. Where I recently saw like this kind of beveled tile
Yeah.
thing where you press and it lifts it up and it makes it super easy to get the tile out. Like for example, just last night we were playing Gizmos and we were playing with 2 lovely women that have long nails, and both of them were like trying to like pick up the pieces and like couldn't do it, so I almost had to
Like
like
this.
do it for them. It was ridiculous. They're like claws trying to get them. But with something like this, it's really easy just to press
a
on
mashup. A
and
mashup
then
would be cool.
lift it up, and then I feel like and this is something that I was kind of discussing with somebody on Twitter with Bebo, is I was talking about like, can you use this for other games like Forbidden Island, Forbidden Desert, games where you
Which
have
I
to
like
flip
that
tiles.
idea. I
As
really
long
like
as the
that
tiles
idea.
are similar size,
And
I
I,
would
and I
Yeah.
think they
use
are.
it for
That
anything.
seems like a
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
standard square, does it not? Like
Yeah.
there's only so many squares that you use.
Hmm.
I feel like any game where you need to flip over tiles, I'm gonna at least try to see if this works.
I
So I'm gonna
really-
keep it out and available.
Liked the fact that they took the initiative to go, okay, we're not just putting together another tile game. Like, we're going to really improve this. And making that board under there just shows how much thought they
huge.
put into
Yeah.
this, 10th anniversary game that they have here.
I
Like,
think, yeah.
yeah, they did such an excellent job with the pieces.
Oh, guys, we're
and
good.
the
Vincent's
board.
here. I was worried. I was worried. No, I'm just playing. We were worried because of the change in time and,
Yeah,
and
with
day
people,
that we would
people
lose.
making it up.
We would
We're
lose the
mixing
people
it
that
up,
normally
keeping
That's
people on
watch.
their
right.
toes.
That's right. We'll be at PAX South.
Doing
so,
this thing.
yeah.
I'm wearing it a day early. That's how dedicated I am. Even James Hudson's not wearing his
He's gonna,
Skybound
he's
shirt
gonna
today.
sleep in it.
Even James Hudson's not wearing his Skybound today.
Here's
Yeah,
the
but his
other
hair looks
thing
better.
that I really liked about this was they made this game so epic in the fact of all the pieces and then the custom tray and everything that their Kickstarter rewards are for the other games.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well-
I was like, oh, that's cool. You're like upgrading your
And
other
you can-
games too.
And they have like their whole
And
catalog
it goes for
in
both.
here.
Yeah.
So you could just throw in some extra money and buy one of their other games
Right.
as well, which I think is kind of genius. I'm
Well, a
surprised
lot
more
of-
companies don't do that.
A lot of the tiles are like compatible with more than one game too. So it's like you get a Phoenix tile that you can use in this game that will replace another one, or it can be used in like Tsuro, the high seas one, and you can put it in there. Which actually, what we didn't really talk about. You could technically use this tray for the regular Tsuros.
oh yeah, you could
Sure.
use it
Also,
for all
you're
of
not going to
them.
flip them, but it's going to keep them from sliding all around all over the table.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when you need to drop a monster and it eats a tile, and you want to lift up that water dragon and place another one, that will actually be kind of useful to get it out.
Ooh, Yeah, that's
So-
a really good idea. You're
Kind of
right.
forgot that you could
You
just
can
straight
go
up
ahead
do that
and
with the
just
regular
straight up
game.
and use this with the other ones, and that's fantastic. Ugh. Okay.
I'm going to use it with my dice throne. I'm going to everything. What other
Well,
game was it that had that? Like
so
I
the,
just recently saw.
and
It's
you know what?
amazing.
The base price for
I really
this
don't know.
is $40.
That's not bad at all.
40 or 49?
I thought it was 40. It's I think
Oh,
it's
you know what?
49
It's
for the
$9
deluxe
shipping.
or something too. Oh, $9
Oh my god,
shipping.
you look at
okay.
shipping too. No wonder
Well,
you
I
never
was
back
just-
anything.
I was-
There's lots of games. I'm
Yeah,
like,
okay.
oh, it's only $100, and the shipping's like 36. I'm like, ooh,
well, it's 9 to the States, so it's more, even more elsewhere.
So it's
Right.
40 for
the standard.
the regular standard
Right.
one. It's 55 for getting the box
All the cool
insert and all the
birds and
cool
stuff.
stuff, which I don't see why you wouldn't get the 55
For the
version one.
price
It's not that
difference,
much more,
yeah.
you
You're
know?
already spending 40. Yeah.
Right, and
That
box
tray is worth it
insert-
alone.
Yeah, that's super nice.
You guys are pretty sold on this one.
I
I
really want that
am.
tray more
I
than anything
am.
else. Like, even if I only ended up playing this like a couple
You're
times
like,
a
where's
year.
the pledge level for just the tray?
Well, even if I only play this a couple times a year, I think it's going to be super useful for any game that has tiles like that you kind of put out. I mean, there's other games like what's
But,
that Steve Jackson game that we play?
Tiled
Stars Are
chess.
Right?
Oh yeah, stars
The
are
stars
right.
are
yeah.
right. You could
Mhm.
use it for that also. Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking of is tile chess. Tile chess has bevels on the actual pieces so
On
that
the
you can
actual
press them
pieces
and
so you
lift
can
them
press
up.
it,
That's
yeah.
exactly what I'm thinking
Mhm.
of. So same type of idea, except that's actually on the tiles where this is going to be a tray. But I feel like anything that I can fit like pieces into it, I'm going to use it for because it's going to keep stuff from getting shifted around on the table because we have cat attacks, child attacks, all kinds of.
Oh yeah.
We don't have
Yeah.
earthquakes here, but we have a lot of cat attacks that just
As
right
you
across
guys
the
should
table and
know.
just spreads everything, and it's ruined games. So like the idea of being able to have it in there and then make it easier for people like to like get tiles out, I'm like super pumped
Seriously,
about.
half the experience of gaming at your house is like playing defense for
Yeah.
the cat. Like, I'm gonna roll my dice and then I'm gonna
And then
check
you're
to
gonna,
see
like,
if there's a
hold
cat in
on.
close proximity.
She gets a critical hit on
For
you.
one very long and skinny cat, she is everywhere at once. She's
have you-
like a wiener dog of cats.
Have you
She's
guys
so
played
long.
the game Indigo? Because Indigo and Tsuro are always had a similar itch.
Why are you always one upping us?
No. Indigo is an old Kinesia
I've played
game,
games before. Oh,
And it-
Kinesia.
but it's
your boyfriend,
it's hexes instead of squares, so there's kind of more options.
your
Okay.
celebrity crush.
And in that one, a little bit. And in that one, you are collecting gems and trying to get them back to like your edge space.
Okay.
So when I saw this, that was one of my first impressions
You're like,
as well.
oh,
It's
they're
like,
taking a little
oh, they
bit
like
from
added
this.
the gem idea
Yeah.
into this one.
I guess.
So.
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be inspiration from
Sure.
one game to the next. I think the big thing though is that they're like, if you really look at the different Tsuro games, I think there has been a definitive evolution
Oh, absolutely.
of adding gameplay to each one.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
think
Yeah.
this one will play differently enough from the High Seas one or the Tsuro of the Seas. I might not be saying the name right.
I think it's other
that-
seas, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be enough that I feel like if I play one, I won't feel like, oh man, I'm never going to play the other one. They're different enough that I feel like there's room for both on my shelf. where like I don't feel like there's room for Of the Seas and then the original Tsuro.
Bree Goldman says that's her house too, so she's also
house,
working the cat
the
defense.
cat,
The cat
yeah.
defense.
You're like,
All right, Greg, would you back this?
I think I'll pass.
You'll pass?
I like Indigo. I think it's too similar. It's
Okay.
a game that my family already knows
That
and
makes
loves.
sense. That makes sense.
So
It's okay. You can be super jealous whenever we get it.
Yeah. No, but I
I'm
would.
gonna have you come over and just be like, "Pow," and flipping tiles. Like, what up now?
But it
Play
looks-
tiddlywinks with it.
It looks like the best version of Tsuro. In my
I think
opinion.
so. I think
And
so.
the tray and everything is cool. I mean, the
Yeah, I feel
beveled
like it's gonna be
tray.
different enough with being able
Yeah.
to flip it and then rotate tiles around and stuff that you're gonna feel like it's not just playing regular
Right,
Tsuro.
right,
Yeah.
right. No, if it looks good to
Which
you,
is just 10 years old now. So
yeah. If it looks good, I'd encourage people
All right,
to buy
so
it.
Dr. GloryHogg?
yeah, I think I'd back this one.
Yeah.
I'm really sold on that tray, and I don't usually get sold on just one individual item.
Yeah.
But like I said, I think it's different
You can
enough
use
that
it
it's
with so many
still
different
that I'm still gonna
things.
play both of them.
Mhm.
I like that it goes up to 8. That's a very good point. We don't have that many games that go up to 8 that it can still be fun. That aren't like these big massive games.
Right.
And that tray just really sells me, and I feel stupid about it because I should just find out where they got the tray made and just order one.
What do you
but
think of the tray, though? Do you like
I
the
like
tray?
the tray. I like the tray.
Finding a game that's easy
Thanks
to
for
teach
shaving
people
before you came over.
that's easy
Oh,
to teach people that's
you're
2 to 8
welcome.
players is huge for me, and I really love everything they did here. They made a quality game with quality pieces. Like, I'm super pumped for it. I'm gonna say I'd back that.
That's a good point. The 2 to 8 is rare.
Right,
It
I'm
really
looking
is.
forward
There's
to
a fair
beating
amount of
her
games that
at
go-
2 and then beating her and 7 of her closest friends.
There's a fair amount of games that go up to 8, but not usually that also
Right,
work.
they're
at 2.
5 to 8.
Yeah, or 4 to 8
Yeah.
or whatever, not 2 to 8.
Well, like we have Hail Hydra that I'm excited about that I haven't played yet
Yeah.
because we need to
You need
have
more
players,
people for
yeah.
it.
right.
Yeah.
And so I've already been like trying to get people over just to play that game because I need to find 5, and that's a weird number to get at your table sometimes.
Yeah, and you don't have a lot of friends, so.
All right, moving on.
My
we
friend
got
is throwing a big party this weekend while we're at PAX South. I'm not going to name any names. So if
We-
you didn't get invited,
It's actually called the Derek's Out of Town Party.
Is it? We have War of the Worlds by Gray Fox Games. This is for 10 plus. It's for 2 players, and it's going to take about 30 to 60 minutes. This is an asymmetrical game, so it's going to be 2 completely
yo, girl, I'm going to let you
different-
finish, but I'm backing this.
All right,
Sorry.
Kanye.
That was super old, right? How old am I now that I still know that?
It's going to
Is
be
that like 8 years ago or something?
Probably.
God, we
2
are old.
completely different factions playing in 2 completely different ways. It's
That's the
a
trigger.
deck building game, which I thought was really interesting at first.
Right,
Whenever I
deck
started-
builder 2-player doesn't not something that you
Yeah.
usually. I mean, you could play Shards of Infinity 2-player, of course, but I
Star
guess
Realms.
But it's
Yeah, I
not
guess I
as
don't-
exciting when you do a deck builder that's 2 players, but this is a deck builder with you have a deck, but you're only building from your own deck.
right, so it's
like,
asymmetrical building.
yeah, so you're
That's
not
what's
sharing
interesting.
the same
right.
cards.
So we're
or
not
anything.
fighting over the middle row, going like, "Oh, I wish I would
No.
have got that." No, it's like I'm gonna play my tanks and this while you're over here like I'm gonna drop a ship on your head, bro. And
You're upgrading your faction, basically.
right, and that
You
sounds
are,
super
you are.
cool. And there's just like some chill minis in it too. They're just like, oh, and here's some side minis, which you don't even need, I feel like, but it's just kind of a nice bonus.
And another game with a super great price point of $39.
Right.
Like I was
And
like, what?
That's the part where the blew my
In
mind.
2019, it's still super
$39?
okay to hate those aliens. So like, there's a lot of people we're not allowed to hate anymore, but aliens,
Aliens,
from off
apparently.
the planet we're
well,
still
as long
allowed to
as
hate.
as long as they're attacking you.
No, I think just all of them in general, even
All of
like
them in
peaceful
general?
like
You're an alien
Martians,
hater?
just hate
I'm
them.
not even going to touch
Wow.
this.
Wow.
You are allowed to
Jeez.
hate them still.
No. No.
We're not.
No.
Kumbaya.
If you want, if you want
Bunch of
like,
foreigners
a bunch of
terraforming up our land. That's why we blew up Mars
All right.
to get back.
I am so insanely excited about this
This
game,
looks
guys.
really
And then
cool.
we didn't really mention, but like, who's the publisher? Like,
Gray Fox.
Gray
Yeah.
Fox has been stupid good. Like,
I
I don't want to like their stuff as much because I like to have money sometimes. But between them and like Cool Mini or Not, and like I just don't have money anymore, like at all. Like seriously, please send me some.
so I usually go into these things and I
His Venmo is.
research the games a little bit and I kind of figure out how they're played and then I see what they have. But with this one, like I went full in it. I watched like
Yeah.
everything
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
internet.
I
with
was like
this.
bitter that we
Like,
had to research the other Kickstarters.
I know because I just wanted to watch this one. Yeah, I was
I'm,
like, oh
I'm
my
actually
gosh, this
more
is
just
so
sad
amazing.
that we don't actually have this like in house to like really like.
I know
play
to
it.
like play it
Because
because
this is one I wish we could just go to the store and buy. Like when Duelist War Island came out, I was like, let's. As soon as it came out, we went to the store, and I usually am anti 2-player games. I only own 2-player only games right
Oh,
now.
wow.
yeah,
Patchwork and Duelist War Island. But this is one I'm excited about.
so
Everything else I have goes
exciting.
bigger because I'm just
So
used to
exciting.
playing with bigger groups typically.
Uh huh.
Yeah.
So
Because I have so many friends.
with this one, I'm super excited how you have that buildup
Likely
of the
story.
aliens coming over and that you see your humans like slowly digress and everything, and how the humans actually get stronger the less they have to move and stuff as they're fighting the aliens, so it starts to even out.
As they
Like
get
Endgame.
cornered, yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
so interesting
So Andrew,
watching all of that.
Desperation.
so
yeah.
Andrew Rollbull has an interesting point where he says you just go ahead and sneeze on the minis and they melt. But this is War of the Worlds 2, brah.
Yeah,
the
they're back.
sequel,
They're
part
back.
2.
The sequel, they've got somewhat of an immune
And
system.
that part of the story is
They're just wearing face masks
That's
now,
right.
like the ones that they're like super pop, like the.
Yeah, the medical mask.
That's it.
Yeah.
They're just wearing medical masks, and they're like, now what? Humans, we've evolved.
Man,
they-
those
they-
3D models are just
They
fantastic.
do kind of integrate that idea of the story into it in that that's the time restriction of the game.
Yeah.
So like if as the aliens you can't defeat the humans in a certain amount of time, you do eventually just break down
Yeah.
because of
And you
your-
know why? Because we just keep coming up with cooler and cooler diseases.
That's right.
Like, think about it. Like 100 years ago, we had some pretty chill ones that we got rid of, but we've got some super sick ones now. Like ones that are like antibiotic resistant. What's up now? Flesh-eating bacteria.
Yeah, and so they're also offering an expansion with this game, which usually I shy away from people offering expansions right away because I'm thinking, all right, why don't I have all of your game? You know,
But it's
why am you
cheap.
charging me more? But this is a little different because it's
like
a
15
different
bucks
map.
or something, right?
Well, and it's a
super
different
cheap.
map.
Yeah, and it
Yeah,
adds,
yeah.
and yeah, so I think it's totally worth it.
Like
And
you can still play the entirety of the game on the one map, but
Yeah.
you're making the game harder
Plus
by
it's the
adding
Irish
another
Isles.
map.
so I feel like that's way better than Scotland. I'm
You're just biased, sir.
I might be a little biased. I'm just saying that
You're just
Scotland was
silly
founded by the
biased.
Irish because we were
What's with
bored.
all your like race war stuff here? Like,
Whoa, I am
you're-
not.
you're
I'm
getting
just saying, like, Scotland thinks it's cool, but it's just like a summer home for the Irish.
The
It's not a
red
big
flu,
deal.
that's right.
But I think it looks legit. And then they were smart enough, or at least I should say they have the forethought enough to be like, hey, we're going to do a neoprene mat, and it's just going to have the expansion
Yeah.
on there,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
I know that sounds like such a silly thing, but there's been plenty of games where you get like a sick play mat for it, and then like an expansion happens, and you're like, this stuff doesn't
Great.
fit
It
on there
doesn't
anymore.
all work together.
Like,
yeah.
it just doesn't work anymore
Now
the
it doesn't
same
fit
way.
my table anymore
Yeah.
the
So-
right way.
How do you guys feel about kickstarting from a company like this that's fairly big and established? I mean, this is a game you
oh
know
my gosh, that's a whole different.
So
because
actually,
you know this game will be
monster.
available
So
through
Yeah.
your normal FLGSs
What I will say
and
is
stuff
that
later on.
Gray Fox seems big because of the amount of hits they put out recently.
Oh, I know they're
but
not
if
a
you
giant
if you look
company.
at the full catalog, they have less games than some other ones that have been around longer. They're actually
Okay.
haven't been around that long. If you go down and kind of look, they even kind of explain about like how long they've been going.
Yeah.
And Gray Fox hasn't been an entity that long. We're not talking about something that's been around for 20 years.
Oh, you're right. Most of the games that you think of when you think of Grey Fox are 4 or 5 years old at most.
Yeah, they're just really good games.
Deception and
So
Champions
I know a
and
lot
Red
of
Rising.
people argue a lot about bigger companies doing stuff on Kickstarter, and I feel like if they are offering extra stuff,
Right.
so it would be the same thing if you did a pre-order and they're like, "Here's your pre-order bonus." Okay,
Right, it's
which
not really any
companies do that.
Well,
okay,
and I
so
don't fault a big company for using Kickstarter,
Well, and-
but I
Right.
wonder as a consumer if it's like, should I just wait until I can just buy this?
it matters how you feel about the game,
Right.
though.
Patience,
You
right.
know, if
Right.
you are
How
excited,
much hype and how much
Yeah,
you want
And in
bonuses.
this case, it's so affordable. It kind of feels like why not?
right?
But sometimes you feel like you're really paying a premium on the Kickstarter. So I was curious.
Sometimes,
kind
but
of.
sometimes you get the opposite. So
yeah.
yeah.
my quick point of view, not that you asked me, but for example, Steve Jackson Games, right?
course I
That
asked
we
you.
that we've worked with
Yeah.
in the past, especially her.
Yeah.
They kickstarted Munchkin Shakespeare.
Okay.
Now, did they need to do that? No, but did they know for sure they had enough interest in it to make it a standalone Munchkin set? They didn't. They had a few people saying this would be cool.
Say, oh, we like
They had the
Shakespeare. I don't
idea.
know if this is gonna work.
So they
and
did it
then,
more
yeah.
as a, we'll put this up. If the people are into it, we'll do it. And the people were like, we're into it. So then they added playmats and
Yeah.
figure. Like,
Right.
you know, they added more to it because they saw the need, that there was a great need for it. Because you just don't know as a company. With the way companies put stuff out today, I feel like you only get 2 or 3 years before you're like, got to have another game. Otherwise, my company's going to fold.
So if you don't like Kickstarter exclusives, just don't be on Kickstarter. Like, just wait until the game
yeah,
comes
this,
out.
this might be the wrong
It's-
show for you.
don't have to be on
Yeah.
Kickstarter. That's the whole thing, you know. And I know, like I said, people complain back and forth about that. Whether, oh, you know, these big companies are on here. Just don't fund them on Kickstarter.
Right.
Like
just
it's
pick
a
it up when it goes
super
retail.
simple. Yeah, it's a super simple thing. If you're sad about missing out on stuff they offered on the Kickstarter, then you need to back the Kickstarter. Like that's
Yeah.
just how it is. Like they're doing a pre-order for it and they're offering you exclusive items for it.
And I don't know. I guess, kind of along your opinion, like I just feel like if it means more games are going to be out there, then I 100% support it. If a
I
game
really
company
enjoy
is on the fence
Kickstarter.
and they're like, I don't know if I should do it,
Right.
and they kickstart it and they go, oh, obviously this is something people want. Sometimes that makes your games that hit retail better too, because like for example, Dinosaur Island, you know, they're
yeah,
like,
they have a bunch of
this
different
blew up
stuff that
so
they've
big.
included
They're like,
in
we're gonna
that.
add
Yeah.
this to the
Yeah.
retail. So even though I missed that Kickstarter, I can still get the benefit of other people going super crazy with it when it came
Yeah.
out. Even at a retail backer, I'll still get some of that bonuses.
Well, I
and
think
stuff.
that's a good point too. With especially with an IP like this, this is not like the world's most popular IP. I mean, it's known, but
It's
it's not
known, but
Star
you're right,
Wars
it
or
isn't.
something.
And
Yeah.
it is
This
an
might
IP
have been
that's
one where they-
going away too. If you think about it, generations are moving on. Like my
Yeah.
daughter's
Yeah.
not going to know what
Right.
War of the
So
Worlds
this
is.
might have felt like something where they were on the fence with it. Like,
Right.
well, is there enough interest in War of the
Yeah.
Worlds or not? Like for me, I watched
Especially
the old.
with some of the other War of the World games that I was looking at, I was like, oh, this one like just seems so much better compared to the other ones that have been printed under that
Yeah.
like IP, that entity, you know. But would you back that, Greg?
Yeah, I really want
100%
this one. This one looks
asymmetrical,
really cool.
all down with it.
And I grew up watching the old movie. It used to give me like alien invasion nightmares as a kid. And my wife and I like these sort of asymmetrical combat, like Star Wars.
well, this
Risk
was your
and stuff.
generation, so
Yeah, I was born in 1939.
All right.
No, I'm in, which is weird because normally if I see 2-player only, I kind of hesitate because then I'm like, oh, I can only play it with you or one other person. But no, I'm 100% in on this one.
And this looks like it has cool deck building mechanics too. It's not just
Yeah.
an area control game. Like
No, it's area control with your deck building, and you're really working to try to create the best engine there with your cards to succeed in a certain amount of turns,
like
basically.
one of the things that they said is you can call any card, which
Yeah.
like in early deck building especially, you were always like hunting for the card that allowed you to like thin your deck out and create that
and
efficient
the cards
engine.
give you really hard choices where, okay, I
Right.
could do this really big thing, but then I'm losing my cards, and I've taken all that time
Right.
to try to get these. So, yeah, I'm 100% on board with this game. It looks amazing. I'm so excited to play it. And, yeah, we'll be back in that for sure. Moving on, we have AVGhost Paranormal Investigations. Let's see here. This is by Mystical Games. This is for 16 plus, 1 to 4 players, and it lasts about 90 to 180 minutes. This has an integration app where you can play it with an app on your phone or not. You also have a book
Right.
that
You have a
can
file.
read from.
Yeah.
Destination file.
I really think it's interesting how games are upgrading themselves and adding apps into them, because this one kind of like reads off like the story and kind
Well, it
of
sounds
what's
like it
happening
even has
to
like
you
jump
and
scare
stuff.
moments and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Through the sounds.
That's really
Yeah, yeah.
interesting.
But I think for a thematic game where the big pull is the storyline,
yeah,
you almost need that, right? Because if you think of
you
some of
need something for
Right.
a
Yeah.
the
thematic
so if we
game.
think about some of the older games we played, so like Touch of Evil and stuff, right? It's very thematic. It had a soundtrack to it.
Yeah, Last
And
Night
that
on
was
Earth
sup-
came with like a CD.
Right, that's right.
Yeah, and there's a lot of them, like
So this
Zombie
Old school
15.
CDs with
version
it.
of this. Yeah, yeah.
ILO Zombie 15 has like that, growl, and then when you got to dump more zombies on the
Right.
board, and
Yeah,
that adds
that's
so
fantastic.
much
It
theme.
gets exciting.
I
you
mean,
know?
heck, that's why whenever we play at your house or Alex's house, or even now our house now, we're always playing on the, we always got the Amazon Alexa going, and it's playing music in the background. We got Scythe music going, and because it just adds something to it. If you got it, why not use it? Why not use all your senses if possible
Right.
by turning off the lights?
I'd like the pieces to be flavored.
No.
No?
I think that'd get into
no,
a problem because I
no,
feel like
no.
I like
I
suck
just-
the head off
I
of
would
my
just
mini.
okay,
eat a
Whatever
mini.
So,
sound
how do you guys feel about playing games in the dark, though? Because this, I mean, you can play it without that portion, but this has
Feels
the
like-
thematic value where you're turning off the lights, you're turning on your little lights on your people, and then you're exploring the board.
Yeah, we need to make sure people realize what that is. Like, they actually have lights built into the bases
Right.
of the
right,
minis.
they're
Right.
flashlight filters,
And they have little discs that you place over them to change the color. And apparently
Yeah.
there's certain clues you can't find unless
Without
you're
the filters in
shining a
them.
certain color.
Yeah.
Which, in concept, sounds like it could be really,
So,
really cool.
You made a good point.
Very
in,
innovative.
In concept, the issue I have with this being ex-military and using flashlight lights like that, all your mag lights had that. You had to use a lot of red light filters for stuff, for maps and everything else.
Yeah.
They usually have to use different ink to print a map so it can be read underneath a red light, which is a tactical light. I've got playing cards that can be read under a red light that aren't just normal playing cards. So I've had experience with these types of things.
Okay.
The issue is you can
seem
still...
hesitant.
Well, the issue
He
is
is
that
a little hesitant
you can
with the
still
lighting.
see it. Like, just because it's been adapted with special
not
ink
gonna,
for
like,
red light...
disappear
Right.
Well-
it's not
Yeah.
invisible ink. It doesn't make it perfect. So when they
Also, we have the AVGhost people here, so
Okay.
they can also answer questions
'Cause
about
I'm curious
this
about
and
how
they
hidden
did
it
the
is.
how hidden it is on the map. Like, do you have really good lines on the board or something that really hide
Well, I
that,
think there's
or
also
like
a mechanic where you need certain color lights to kill certain types of ghosts and stuff as well.
Oh,
So I don't
yeah,
think
that's
it's
really
just
cool
for
too.
finding clues, but it's
Okay.
Yeah.
also like if you have the right light on, it like banishes certain, and they can correct us, of course, but you can banish certain kind of ghosts and stuff. So it feels like they've tried to flesh that
They
out
really integrated that
beyond
portion
just
of
a
it.
clue
Yeah.
finding thing. But
Yeah.
Because as a clue finding thing, that's a really unique hook.
it's
I
a
think
good
definitely.
idea.
Yeah.
I just
no,
want to make sure that it works. I don't because in the
Yeah.
video they showed it where they had the regular light and you could kind of see like the number red 25,
Yeah.
and they put the red light on, then you could see the red 25. I'm like, well, if you can see it no matter what, I don't need the filter. But also, it's hard because in a video, that was an animated video.
I think.
It's not actually dark in your house trying to play it, and I think that's might.
Yeah,
make
I was gonna say. I think if it's dark and you're trying to play it, and then they like hid them in some sort of like behind a door that has like weird like lines in it or something that will help hide that portion of it. Does that make sense? Like
Yeah,
hide
yes,
the
yeah.
lines of the numbers, so then
Kind of
it makes it
obscures
harder to see.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
Okay.
more obscured. So
And even if you can kind of see them, but they still say like, "Hey, you have to like activate a certain thing in order to see this," and then that's the only way to get the room. Like you might go, "Okay, I know it's there, but I still have to like take an action to like change my color out." Like
Well,
it still could be mechanically interesting, even if
it's
the
like-
gimmick only kind of works.
it's like that one game that we played where we put on the red glasses or something,
Red
and you could
Scare?
only see
Red
Red
Scare,
Scare.
the social deduction game.
Some of the people they had to change the cards on that because some people could just see that stuff without the glasses.
could.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I could just see the thing.
That's
yeah,
your
you don't
X-Men power.
know your X-Men
I have
power.
I'm like anti-colorblind or something.
That and
I'm
your
like,
tail.
oh, look at that. That's chartreuse.
Anti-colorblind. There you go.
But I do
Because
think
I'm better than
It
Derek
is
Funkhauser in all
a
ways.
really cool, unique idea. I really like the fact that you're going into this scary haunted house. I love the fact that you have the app.
Oh, the
that's
theme is
talking.
rad.
Yeah, the
And it's
theme
like
is
the 70s,
super
right?
cool.
There's like
Yeah.
a hippie
It's
rolling
like
through there.
Yeah.
it's like retro ghost hunters.
Right?
It's really cool. And it says there's 6 scenarios, which is nice to see.
30
Yeah.
hours.
30
30 hours.
So
That doesn't
5 hours of content per scenario
Which is great.
Awesome.
Right, like that's a Gloomhaven night or something, right? Where you're
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
spend
yeah.
5 hours playing a game, or like a D&D night. Also, like since it's been funded so well, they've added additional like 3 hours here, 3 hours there.
Right.
And I don't know what the total is, but I feel
Some
like they've
extra
added.
content and stuff with
I feel like
that,
they've
yeah.
added at least an extra, like maybe 15 hours worth of content.
Yeah.
That might be too high of a number, but if you look at the stretch goals,
Right.
they've added content and minis every couple of stretch goals. So I think it's going to have a lot more buying it through Kickstarter than if you're going to get this game. I would recommend getting it through
Recommend getting it
Kickstarter
through
versus getting it
Kickstarter, 'cause
retail,
you
where
get
you
the
might miss out
upgrades
on
and stuff for
all
everything.
that
Yeah.
extra content.
Now,
Yeah.
with this though, you're paying $100, and you've got 2 things. You've got an app, and you've got the like light gimmick.
Yes.
Mhm.
And if either of them doesn't work well, you've invested a lot of money.
Right.
And I feel like it's 2 variables that make me a little nervous.
Mhm.
Like it's the
Okay.
sort of game I'd kind of like to see work first.
Well, so this reminds me a little bit
before I
of
wanna like shell out the
Nyctophobia.
$100.
Remember
yeah.
when I was telling you about Nyctophobia and stuff? You were you and Alex, where everybody was kind of
Like,
on the
oh,
fence.
yeah.
I know you had played it before, but like
Yeah,
Alex
yeah.
and I think Andrew were on the fence about it. But when we actually dimmed the lights and actually played it,
Sure.
it changed your overall feeling of it because like, okay, this works. This is a
Well,
good game.
and plus, I think the people that you have invested in that game make a difference too. Because if you have people that are heavily invested in the horror theme and making things dark and creepy and stuff, and same with Nyctophobia, like
Yeah, I'll take
if you
my
have
shirt off
people-
if it makes it creepy.
that's right. If you have people
always makes
invested
it
in making
creepy.
things creepy,
Nobody
the
asked
game
you.
will be better. So, I feel like this game is an excellent game for
The right
those
group.
Ameritrashers that love
Or-
heavy theme.
Or your D&D players, your RPG players,
That's
because
true.
they get into it. And any game that's heavy on theme like this, that's going to take 5-ish hours, I feel like if you're not playing it with people that normally RPG, you're kind of missing out on an aspect. If you play this
That's
with like
probably really
my
true.
mom's friend who's just like, why are we turning off the lights? That's not going to be fun.
Yeah.
The same way as if I'm playing with somebody who's like, and then you walk around the corner and you see, like you want that. You want people to get freaked out
So,
and to have a good time.
AVGhost says we also have 4 more unlocked cases inside the core game. That's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's additional content.
how many cases did they start with? It was
6.
Yeah.
and then 4 more.
Yeah.
Like
I don't think
holy
all
cow.
I don't think all 4 are as long. They might not be 5 hours long, but still, that's just additional content.
That's
that
a lot of
you
extra
just didn't have.
content.
It's also interesting because it says it's 90 to 180 minutes to play. So I wonder if you have to play it a couple times
I was
to
thinking
finish the
that.
scenario.
I was thinking of that.
Which kind of reminds me of like
because-
time stories, right?
Yes,
you
right?
play through it 3 or 4
And then you're
runs
like, oh no,
in
we
order
can't
to,
go
like,
over here.
solve
Don't
it.
go over there. Yeah.
And
Which-
if it's like that,
I like games like that.
right. And this is almost like you'd buy time stories with like all the expansions all in one box.
Right.
Like this is all the scenarios.
good way
You
to think
get
about
all
it.
the cases.
Because you're right,
for it
Time
there.
Stories with $50, but then each expansion is
Another
like what,
$20.
25 or something,
Right.
20.
So I mean, if this is as
So
good
I
of
spent
an
more
experience
on Time
Right.
Stories than this, and
Yeah.
I've probably played it. I don't know, maybe less than 30 hours.
if this is as good of an experience,
Right.
then it feels like a deal.
And I also like the fact that they do have the color blind friendly
Yeah.
Symbols that you
symbols
stickers
on there.
They're
I
stickers
want to
that you
know
can
a
put on
little
there.
bit more how that works,
Yeah.
Well,
but
they're stickers, so you would actually stick them on. I think the different items that normally you wouldn't be able to see if you were colorblind. That's the whole thing about being colorblind. Like just changing the color doesn't always work.
right.
But if you put those symbols on there, you'll go, oh, that's supposed to be a red filter thing that I would see, but instead I see one line, so I know it's red.
okay.
Does that make sense?
Okay. All right.
So it's actually
That makes
better
sense.
than just saying, oh, well, we're colorblind friendly. This is like, it's got something that like, if you are colorblind, you can still play this.
Right.
For sure, because the symbols make a difference.
Right.
Okay.
Be like adding braille to it or something. Like it's gonna
Right.
fundamentally change the game for that one person, but it'll make it accessible for that person.
This is really interesting and well put together. And I appreciate the AVGhost people being here and answering any questions we might have about it, because sometimes you get involved in highly thematic games like this, and then you're like, okay, well, I don't know what this is about, like this portion. This makes me
Well, especially when it's mystery
a little
solving.
uncertain.
You don't
Yeah,
want things-
right.
You don't want things like spoiled.
Right, right.
Well, and they did a good job where they've got an English video on here, which obviously were primarily English, where he kind of goes through a turn with the lights on and then like a turn kind of with the lights off that isn't super spoily. Where some of the other ones, which I think are in Spanish maybe, say like spoiler warning on them.
Yeah, they-
so.
Oh, okay, okay.
They're,
Very
like,
cool.
warned
But
enough
like
to
the English
watch.
one, at least you know it told you like ahead of time. He's like, I'm not going to really spoil anything. I'm just going
Yeah.
to kind of show you lights on because you can't. It's hard to film things in the dark, guys. This pro tip: it's hard to film in the dark.
I also really enjoy the fact that you
I don't wanna
read
know
the
why you know
case,
that.
you read the case, then you try to like get the items and stuff and figure out where you're going to put stuff and recorders and everything. And then you set up your app on like kind of what you did and like who you are and stuff, and then
who
bam.
you are, where you're at.
Yeah, and then bam, like then you have your scenario played out. And
Yeah.
your scenario is going to be different because of where you place things,
Well,
right?
you see what Vincent's talking about. He's sold because of the LED street lamps. But the problem is that whenever the street light lamps come on, I have to go home.
Oh.
So like my mom's, that's like that was always the hard rule that when the street lights come on, I better be home or
If
she's
you
gonna
aren't
get
there
mad.
within 3 minutes, you're in big trouble, mister.
Yeah.
All right. So for me, I think that $98 is probably a decent price point for this, just because you are getting the LED light things, you're getting the
Yeah.
app and everything. It's just a heavy week of Kickstarters for me. As far as if I'd back this, I think if I had extra money, I would back this right now. But I don't know what's in store for next week at this point.
Well,
I
this
think if you're
falls
heavy,
into that $100 story
Right,
playing niche,
right.
which
which like
it's
Painted
not,
Grails I loved, but then you're also spending like a ton of money on that as well.
well, and then
like-
it's a big time investment, which is great if you've got it. But I think we're kind of in that like 1 to 2 hour-ish range right now, where we just
Right.
unless we're doing a legacy game, we try to play a variety of games versus
Right.
just one
I
consistently.
think if you really, really enjoy the theme of this game, it being horror, the fact that you get to travel around in the dark and everything, if you're into games that are heavy RPG or heavy storytelling and stuff, this is definitely the game for you.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you
I
should
agree.
definitely back this, because I feel
agree.
like the $100 is not a bad price point for what you're getting
for a
it.
storytelling game, that seems to be kind of
Yeah,
on
because
point.
you have to put a lot of investment
and
into
this
the
does come
writers
with
and
cool
everything
minis
with
and stuff too.
this.
There are good
Yeah.
minis in this, like where you're cruising around and you see like this green ghoul and stuff. I think it was like the bull monster or the the bull, I think it was called. That did look creepy.
Yeah, they have a lot of really great stuff. You can
Oh,
always
so you can
save
save
the
it-
game. Oh, mid-investigation, and
Okay.
then
you
continue
go.
some other time. Ooh.
So they have a save.
That's huge
build
because
up
That
to
is
it.
huge,
because
Buster.
there are lots of
yeah.
times where you have this big game and you're like, I don't have 3 or 4 hours right now, so you're like, we just don't play it.
Right.
Where if you could save it and come back to it, then it's like I can play for an hour or two tonight, an hour or two tomorrow, finish it up.
That is huge, because sometimes I do feel like I get involved in some of those games. Even if you play like time stories with a group of people that just takes a really long time to make decisions, halfway through that game sometimes you're like, oh my god, I just want to put the cards away for a little while, you
Right.
know? Like, I can't take any more of this.
You gotta
know,
have like a dinner
second
break or
guessing
something.
and second guessing my decisions, you know? But being able to take that break like in the middle is fantastic.
You gotta eat
Awesome.
sometimes.
All right, Greg. Would you back this game?
I think for me, it's going to come down to how well the app and the light works. That whole system, those sort of two variables. So I kind of want to play this first.
You want to play this?
If I had a chance to play this at a con or something and it works as well as I hope it does,
Be super
then I'm
excited
in.
about it.
Because
yeah.
I think that many hours of content for $100 is very reasonable.
Yeah.
But it really comes down to how well that works. You know, like the old CD with Last Night on Earth is kind of goofy, and you're kind of like, really? This
Yeah.
is, you know. So like the app could be
It's just
amazing,
soundtrack.
or it could just be kind of this dumb little extra. You know, it's just something where I kind of feel like I need to see it before I'm gonna throw $100 at it.
And I can understand it because a lot of storytelling games are kind of like that. You feel like it's because you're going to be investing more up front. You feel like you kind of want to see it more. And
well,
if it's
you
good
wanna
at
know
a
how
con,
good the mysteries are too. Like, is this going to be like some real deduction where I'm really trying to solve something?
well, because
Or
you're
is it just like, oh, I'm collecting a few bits, and if I do, I win. If I don't, I don't.
Right.
well,
Like,
that's
I
that's
wanna
fair
know.
because you and your wife are super into heavy mystery, and so is she.
Yes.
Yeah.
Super into
yes.
heavy mystery games, like
Chronicles of Crime.
I'm
and-
super
Sherlock
excited about heavy
Holmes,
mystery
Detective.
games. Yeah.
I mean, you guys play all those.
Right, yes, yeah. So
Okay.
it's a genre I'm interested in, and I love the horror theme. I love horror movies and books and that kind of stuff. So if it works well, I'm so in because $100
Look
feels
at those
real
pieces
reasonable.
right
I'm hoping
there.
this is something that does well, and we start seeing it like at the local game store where you can
So
go and
good.
try
It looks
out.
so good. I know this week is like
I'm with Vincent.
slammed, guys.
If
My
I was
wallet,
making
it
Greg
hurts.
money over here, I'd probably back it.
It hurts this week. DrGloryHogg, would you back this?
I'm right on the fence with it. I want to back it. I just don't know if it's in my budget today. So I
Yeah.
know that's kind of a cop-out answer, but I am interested in playing it, and this is definitely something that I'm going to look into further and might end up picking up even when it hits retail.
Right. So as a note, I only try to spend at least $100 a week on Kickstarter. So
Holy crap!
She doesn't.
Let
we
me
don't
do the
spend
math.
that much.
That's
yeah.
$5,000 a year.
So
Woo!
Don't do the
choosing
math.
between
Sure.
Don't do the math.
the two games that we just looked at and then this game, I'm going to have to wait to make my decision next week for it because I like the game. I think it's really interesting. I'm excited to see more
yeah,
from
it's a
this.
cool idea.
And the
Yeah.
campaign's not running out. There is time.
Right, exactly. But I'm going to have to make my decision next week on that just because I have so many games. If I had the money, I would probably back this.
We just need to convince Alex to back it.
Oh, there we go. See?
Because
That's
he's
what
been
we try to do. We try to
been
even
quiet
it out
lately.
here.
Seriously.
He's been quiet lately. We try to farm him out.
Or Andrew.
try
He
to
likes
even
those
it
big
out.
$100 plus Kickstarters.
That's true.
Maybe we can get him on
we
this
do
one.
we do try to farm him out because we all made the mistake where like 6 people in our group all got
Yeah.
Rising Sun, and we were like, we probably
did.
could have just like 3 of us could have got it and been
They
fine.
just did an amazing job on this, guys. And thank you so much for joining us, the AVGhost people. We
And-
appreciate that.
And
yeah.
thanks to the watchers that kind of, I mean, we had it on our radar, but still, it's always
never
good if you
do the
see
math.
something.
Yeah, never,
Never
do
do
the
the
math of the
math.
purchase.
We do appreciate when you see something and you get excited about something and say like, hey, have you guys seen this one yet? That does
yes.
help put it on our radar even further because we had the option of talking about this one this week or potentially next week after PAX South. As we're glad you guys brought it up, so we knew that it was something you guys wanted to see.
Absolutely. If you guys want to see particular items from us, make sure to mention it to us because we'll take a look. And if it looks like it's something worth talking about for sure and going into, we will absolutely talk about it with you guys.
Yeah,
Thank
we
you
try to
so
cover
much.
as much as
Hey,
we
while
can.
we have AV Ghost here too, if they jump into the chat and tell us like if there's going to be a con like PAX or if there's
Oh,
somewhere
yeah,
where they're going to
yeah.
be where they're showing it off, let us know and we'll mention it before we end this
Absolutely.
stream.
You can put it in the comments and
Right.
stuff and let us know where you're going to be so people can try before they
'Cause
buy
I think a
on
lot
this.
of people
yeah.
would like to try this and see how it works.
Absolutely.
And
All
there's
right.
plenty of conventions coming up.
Moving
Yeah.
on, guys, we have La Stanza. La Stanza is by Quined Games. This is for 2 to 4 players, lasts about 60 to 90 minutes. This is a heavy Euro game. And what were your guys' first impressions of this game?
Well, it felt
Dr. DrGloryHogg's like,
Did you see my 1,000-mile stare?
it felt like another dry Euro theme. I mean, the
Yes.
idea is you're walking around room to room and buying paintings.
Yes.
I don't know if that's something I'm excited about. Like,
But you're excited
simulating.
about who's making the game.
Yes.
Because you made a big mention
Well,
of that. Like
yeah.
the team making it is a good.
So like the premise is whatever. It's a themeless Euro, but it is the design team behind like Nippon and Panamax and like these games that Madeira that people really like. I haven't actually played a lot in their sort of history,
but they're rated well.
But they're acclaimed. I think Panamax or one of their games is like in the top 200 or 300 on BGG. You know,
Yeah.
so I mean they are a design team that like is
A
acclaimed.
solid
They
design
have that,
team.
yeah, they have that
Right.
history where they're sort of tried and true. So if you played their stuff or if you just like sort of Euros, it feels like a safe buy.
Yeah, I think so, and
But
I
the
think that's
first
kind of where it's
impression
at.
is kind of just like, oh, it's a generic Euro where
Okay.
I'm grabbing, it's a
Well,
set
I'm actually
collection
glad you said that
kind of
because
painting thing.
Euros are always a hard sell for me because
Yeah.
I don't like pushing cubes. I just don't. I don't like just
Right.
pushing cubes just to push cubes. And usually one of you two has to really like
Be
convince
like, oh,
me to
this
get
Euro's
into
so
it.
good, and you're like, maybe.
Because even something like Council of Four, I was kind of looking at it first when you were showing it to me, and I was like, but then when I was like, oh, I actually
Right.
really enjoy this game.
Yeah.
So it's usually a hard sell for me. And then the theme was worse because, like, if I go to a museum, I'm there for the exhibits, the sculptures. Like, my least favorite thing is typically the paintings. I'm not a person that particularly loves going out of my way to see art. I like art, but I am definitely more.
You're not refined. You're a heathen.
No, I like more. I guess for me, like,
I'm
like
kidding, I'm
I like
kidding.
more like sculptures
God.
and like and
Yeah.
I like the art where it's like it's like a guy's head and then you push it and then it's like 1,000 pieces of paper that kind of like
Sure,
slinkies
sure.
out and you push it, like the really unique stuff.
Yeah.
For me, just oil paintings.
Just straight up classic paintings.
Yeah, they're just it's not my particular
Yeah.
thing. It's
And
I
I'm
don't
not-
get
I'm not
excited
an
by
art
it.
Snob by any means. I don't know.
Well, she's an artist, so she
anything-
probably appreciates it more. But like, I look at a good painting, I'm like, I either like it or I don't.
Right.
I don't spend 3 hours waxing poetically about like, oh, look at these brush strokes. It's just not my thing.
Sure.
Okay, so on this particular game, I like the way the board looks and everything. I think the mechanics are interesting, but I'm not excited about
Really?
necessarily the theme of it, because
Okay.
like going in and then like buying art and then like going to a different room.
Like, where's the murder?
I don't know what else you could. Yeah,
Why
I
aren't
don't know
we?
what else you could do with that.
You want bloodstained
theme?
paintings.
I want there to be
Right.
a barbarian horde that's trying to rob the museum while you're trying to save the museum, right?
Which probably though seems like somewhat of a nitpick because I mean the mechanics seem really interesting because
Yeah.
you're trying to go and specifically like get these items to kind of build your action list. So it seems like everybody's going to have different actions, and then you need
Yes.
to make sure they align with specific
Yeah.
rooms that you're close to, so
It
you
seems
can use
like
them.
a good game mechanically, but it also seems like a game that I'll get a chance to play somewhere.
Right.
well, here's
I
the
don't
problem.
need to back it now. I can try it out at some point.
Right, and there's nothing that's so exclusive to it that you feel like you have to get it or you're going to
No.
miss out. I think a thing that a lot of game companies forget about is that theme's important. Like, it matters. And a lot of game companies are super so on components or super so on just the mechanics.
Yeah.
I can find 100 games that are similar enough to scratch that itch, as you say, or rub
Yeah.
that rash. Weirdo.
Don't
But-
judge me.
But if the game has the right theme, even if it's something similar, like, oh, this is another worker placement that's similar to another one I have,
Right.
the right theme can make the difference for me that I would want both in my collection.
Well, like I taught you guys asking for Troubles, which
Yes.
is this cool, like, silly sci-fi theme.
and it's just a worker placement.
It's just a worker placement.
100%.
It doesn't reinvent the wheel. It has a few somewhat innovative mechanics,
Right.
but for the most part, you're just sold on it because it's like, oh, I can.
I don't even like the color orange, and that game is
But the-
so much orange, and I
That's
love
true.
that stupid
That's very
game.
true.
Yeah.
There's few games that I play with you that I immediately feel like I need to go out and buy for my own
Right,
collection, and
right.
that was definitely one
so
of them.
I feel like that they really tried doing the hey, we have our deluxe edition that's only available on Kickstarter
with
to
the
kind
metal
of
coins and
yeah,
stuff.
to kind of boost things for them, but I don't feel like the deluxe edition is like interesting enough for me to back
Yeah.
this
I
on
can wait and
Kickstarter
just
for
get
the
the
deluxe
generic
right, it's
version.
upgraded
yeah.
components.
You
Because
know,
I haven't played their other games.
companies that are going to Kickstarter, like we were talking about the fact that you have Kickstarter exclusives, and I was just talking to a company about this the other day. It's super important for you to have Kickstarter exclusives because that when people look at this, that's what people think. Can
That's
I
what builds the
buy
hype.
this
Can I
later?
just wait? Yeah.
Can I buy this later, or do I need to buy it now? And you
Yeah.
need to have them hooked right away where, hey, I need to look at this. Oh, gosh, I need to back this right now because
Well, that's a
like,
basic-
I'm going to miss out on this thing.
Like, where's the baby-sized Cthulhu mini in this? You
Well,
know?
so here's the thing. That's a lot of game companies aren't necessarily people that sell stuff, right? And I've been a salesman most of my
Right.
life in a variety of jobs, from cell phones to guns to, I mean, you name it. Black market kids.
Condoms.
No, that's actually wrong. I never did that.
No,
but
no.
I've sold a lot of different things, and one of the basic tenets to selling is building that sense of urgency in
Yes.
the person that's
Yeah,
buying.
FOMO.
And
you're fucking missing
I
out if
don't
you
feel
Exactly.
that sense of urgency with this game where like I have to get it today or
Yeah.
I'm going to get a lesser version later. Because
This-
with a Euro, you feel like you can just get the regular version and it's fine.
This
Because just-
mechanically might be the most like acclaimed game of all of these. that
Right.
Like this will probably be the most likely to climb the ranks of BGG and
Right.
be well regarded.
Right, than some of the other games we talked about,
Right,
maybe
but at the
even.
same time, it's like I can also just wait. I haven't
And
played
that's
their
exactly
older
it.
designs.
I can also just wait.
If
So
I had played Dupont and I loved it, then I'd be like, all right, I'm right on. Like with Barrage a few weeks back.
Right, because we had just recently played some games.
Yeah, I knew the design team and I was excited about their latest entry. But with this one, I trust that it's good, but I haven't played their older stuff.
yeah,
And that's what's tough. I think Euros really sell based off the design team more
Yeah.
than the theme
they
or
do.
They
or
do.
the
They do,
mechanics
yeah.
necessarily.
Yeah.
Where
Well, it's a combination. You trust that design team
Right.
to have interesting
where
mechanics.
like with the Ameritrash games, you have to prove everything. You have to prove that your theme is good. You have to prove that your artwork is good, that the story is
Well,
good, that the
some would-
components are good.
Some would argue, though, you just throw a bunch of cool minis at Ameritrashers and they'll buy anything. I mean, there's
I
sort
would
of-
disagree,
there's
but
sort
Some
of
of 'em
different
maybe.
there's certain different versions where
I feel like right now Kickstarter is currently on the Ameritrash roller coaster.
It is on the Ameritrash
I feel like
roller
that's what's
coaster,
really doing
guys.
well
yeah.
on Kickstarter because
Yeah.
Ameritrash games typically are really good at building hype.
because you
Because
can
they're
have,
all about that hype.
because
I
they're
mean,
flashier.
Yeah.
They have the big minis and they have
There's
gimmicks
ways to
with-
make this flashy though,
Yeah.
because you can add like a piece that gives you one special mechanic, and that's what would sell it. If you had one single component that maybe gets stolen between players or something like that, that gives them an extra mechanic, but it can only be gotten on this Kickstarter, wouldn't you be more interested in something like this? You'd be like, oh man, that's
Yeah.
like an interesting
But I think
component.
people resent that sometimes too. If they feel
It's
like
hard.
it changes the mechanics of it,
Yeah, but if you're on Kickstarter, you need to have it to compete with the
you
Kickstarter
need something
market.
that feels exclusive,
Right.
but also
And exciting.
doesn't change the core mechanics of the game.
Let's
if
just
that
be
makes
real.
sense.
Kickstarter's like everything else. If you make 50% of the people happy, the other 50% will hate you.
That's,
And
true.
So as
You
much
can't
as
please
some
all the
people,
people all
right?
the time.
Can't.
As much as some
Can't.
people are like, "Oh, I'm all about the exclusive
Yeah.
on Kickstarter," there's other people that are like, "I'll never buy from Kickstarter because of the exclusive."
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a hard balance to walk.
Like Andrew Roble, that he went ahead and said that, that he doesn't like that because if he missed out
It's
on
rough.
a game later on, then he's unable to get that.
He's been tracking down Blood Rage extras for
It's
Has
tough.
he?
for
Has he?
years.
So I
Yeah.
feel that it is tough.
because he didn't back it.
When I say exclusive, I like when there's bonus stuff in it that gets you excited about it that they might
Right.
release a year or two later down the road. I'm okay with them reselling that stuff later at you go to a Board Game Geek Con and then you find out, oh, look, there's the
Oh, we actually printed a few more of these.
here's
like,
an upgrade
later,
to
yeah.
Champions of Midgard. Here's
But you
that
can
fifth
only
character I
get it
didn't
whenever
have.
you see us.
Right, right.
I'm okay with that sort
Right,
of stuff.
or
but
stuff that comes out a year or two later, so that way you still feel like you got your value as a Kickstarter, like as
Right.
an early adopter.
right.
Like I'm not mad when somebody else gets the iPhone 10 2 weeks later, right? Like, but and I don't expect to get like I'm the only one who can get it because I bought it the first week. That's
Right,
ridiculous.
right.
right.
But I feel like that you have to have some time with it, right? Like you got to have some time with it for it to be new and cool and unique to you before it's sold
interesting,
on the
right.
side later down the road for the people
Right.
that missed it.
Right.
Right.
That's my
Well,
thoughts.
This game
Hire me.
has a great price point at $52. So
It is a good price point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
a
reasonable.
great price point. The game looks really interesting. I love the mechanics in it. I'm not too excited about the theme of it.
Right. Nobody here said that the game's not good. We're just not pumped
This
for
was
it.
an insanely hard week for this, and the fact that I don't have enough like Kickstarter items that I'm like super excited about, I'm probably just gonna wait for it to come out on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to try it out somewhere because I haven't played
Yeah.
their other games. I trust that they're good, but I just want to try it for myself.
I'm sure it's probably going to be an excellent Euro because
Yeah.
of the designers behind it and stuff and the mechanics that we've read into. But yeah, it just doesn't get me excited for this particular Kickstarter and backing it right now, especially when
fair.
we have the Tsuro and we have War of the Worlds. And then if you want to buy AVGhost, like there's so many more exciting things
It's like
happening.
everybody realized the holidays are enough behind us that we can just hit
Boom.
Kickstarter again.
Yeah.
You
'Cause
know,
there's so much stuff that's like flooded it all at once.
when I went to Kickstarter this last week, I had like 10 to 12 of them I wanted to talk
Right,
about. And
right.
I could only pick
There's
so
a
many,
new
guys.
Renegade Games game
I can only
that's
pick so
coming
many.
out, and yeah, there's a lot of solid stuff right
All
now.
right, so Greg,
I'll pass on this one, but I want to try it out later. I could see myself loving it.
Okay,
but I
Dr.
wanna
DrGloryHogg.
play it.
Based on my personal experiences with Euros and them not being my favorite game type, it's a pass for me. In order for a Euro to really sell, to me personally, it's got to have some kind of theme that also brings me in.
right,
A little X factor,
absolutely.
a little something extra.
Yeah, definitely,
Something.
Vincent. Not enough
'Cause
disposable
I like Euros,
income
but
on
I don't
that.
buy them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and thank you for checking out my Victorian Masterminds stuff there that I posted today, Vincent. Thanks for bringing that up. I appreciate that. So,
What are we up to now?
Arizona Game Fair,
That's coming up.
that's coming up.
We literally have PAX in like 24 hours.
We have PAX. Yeah,
PAX
so we'll be
South?
at PAX And that'll be this weekend. So if anybody's there, make sure to come by and say hi. We will be working at the Skybound
And as a
booth.
special one-time offer, you can also say hi to James Hudson and Lizzie Funkhauser. Not that they're nearly as important draws as Dr. Gloryhogg,
guess
but
if you're there and they're around.
and my boy
I
Aries will be
mean,
there.
you
Some other new
know.
faces that I haven't met. It's going to be a good crew. We like Skybound. They're good people. It's a good company. And having, James Hudson from Druid City there also, who works for Skybound now, it's just going to be amazing. There's
It's gonna
some
be a good
really
time.
good games coming out. And I'm really hoping we get to show off some.
I hope they have the
really good
Walking Dead
games.
one there.
I hope they have the Walking Dead one there.
Yeah.
Fear of the Walking Dead, I think is what
Yeah.
it is. Or Fear of. Or
Designed
something
by
to fear.
Derek and Lizzie Funkhauser.
I'm really, really,
Yeah.
really hoping, though, that they've got some title blades there because I
Title
am
Blades.
stupid in love with that game.
Yeah, you are.
We went full deluxe
Yeah,
on
you
that
are.
one, and if it's there, I'm going to be real happy.
She's gonna be like, Title Blades.
I won't
Title
even
Blades, Title
demo for other
Blades."
people. I'll just sit to play it. Just
They're like,
over.
how do you play this? Go away, I'm playing.
I'm already
But
in
I
this.
want to know. No.
So, and then the other thing is that I'm going to be releasing a video about Arizona Game Fair because they are looking for people to teach other people games right now. So they're looking for those GM and DM submissions. So if you're in Arizona, make sure to contact them.
Or if you're going to be in Arizona
Or if
during
you're
that
gonna
time,
be in
which is
Arizona, yeah.
March, right?
That's
March.
right. That's right. It's going to be the end of March. And
Good time. It's not hot yet.
no, and they're going to be doing miniatures there. They're going to be doing board games. They're going to be doing RPGs. Like they have a game trade market. What is it on BGG?
Like
Math
a-
trade.
Yeah,
Math trade.
like a math trade.
Math trade. They have a math trade set up for that. They have so many things, and you
And
guys
there's
can
still
watch
tickets,
that in
right?
that
People
video.
can still.
Yeah, you
Oh,
can
yeah.
still get it.
You can
this
buy it at
year,
the door.
Yeah.
This year is so cool because they are keeping their price for their tickets one price until the day of.
Nice.
Then ticket prices will
Well,
go
that's
up.
cool
So
because
yeah,
they've done it in increments
In
before.
waves
Yeah.
in the past.
this they're like, yeah, we're just gonna keep it one price so everybody gets the same thing,
It's
and
gonna be
then on
bigger,
the
too.
day, oh yeah, it's
More
gonna be so
space.
big. More space. It's gonna be amazing. And then
And it's got a great featured guest, Gloryhoundd.
that's right. And then all of us,
Hashtag biased.
so all of
Hashtag
us
not jelly.
will be at the Arizona Game Fair in March, and then also in March, all of us will be at Dice Tower West.
That's true.
That's right. So
It'll be
all of the
full
Hooked
on.
on Geek crew.
Hooked on Geek plus fam.
That's right.
That's
little
right.
ones,
That's
the little
right.
hooks.
That's right.
The little geeks.
Little geeks.
So if you guys are looking to give us crisp high fives, talk about games, play games with us, like those are the times to come and play games, and hit us up on Twitter, Instagram. Greg, where can we find you at?
Hooked on Geek, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and new audio episodes every Monday morning. What were you gonna say?
Oh, I was just going to say, Vincent is sad because he can't come out to the Arizona Game Fair. I feel like if
Yeah.
he just didn't watch our show for 1 month, he'd have enough disposable
Yeah.
Oh,
time.
then
He's
he could have,
spending
like,
too much on the
his own.
Kickstarters.
We're
Don't
just
watch
too
the show
good.
for a couple of weeks. Save your money and buy a plane
We're
ticket.
sorry, Vincent. Either that or like cut up your credit card, something. If you're looking for me, like everybody should be, I am on Facebook. You can always look for DrGloryHogg. You can search Dr_GloryHogg on Instagram if you want to see the games we're playing. I post those pretty regularly. We all do. We all try to. get
Hashtag
different.
uninvited gamers.
Yes,
That's right.
definitely check out the hashtag uninvited
That's
gamers.
right.
And of course on Twitter, DrGloryHogg. I am on there occasionally, either 5 posts a day for a day or two or 0 posts for 5 days.
That's right.
Probably Instagram or Facebook are your best bets. I check those constantly.
And if you guys like this video, make sure to like and subscribe.
We literally live off your subscriptions and
That's
your
right.
likes.
Dr. GloryHogg gets so excited
I
when
spent
we go up.
1,500 internet points on the mortgage last month alone.
And thank you so much for everybody joining us today. I hope you guys all have a lovely week. We will see you guys next week. Thanks so much for watching.
And if nothing else, check out Kickstarter. I heard there's good stuff on there.
That's right.